You'd think you could walk into this swanky, La Cienega, West Hollywood gallery. It looks like, it sounds like, it smells like a legitimate art gallery with legitimate art purveyors in it. But, you wouldn't think you'd get bamboozled and hoodwinked by this person. But that's exactly what happens. She can say she loves art all day long, but really you can tell by her actions she loves herself a whole lot more and loves her pocketbook. I mean, that is what she ended up proving she was all about. Which, by the way, that's a good principle, not just when you're dealing with fine art, but when you're trying to deal with religion. When you're dealing with people that say they are purveyors of the truth of God. When you're trying to make some kind of spiritual transaction in places where, frankly, God has designed it for us to need the kind of counsel, help, teaching, instruction that you have from people that claim to know God, claim to know God's truth. You've got to make sure that these people that claim to love God really don't love themselves more, because our world is filled with spiritual deception and religious counterfeits. And I know we'd like to think, if you wear the Jesus jersey, you're on my team. But in reality, you'd better have discernment in our world. And it's always been that way. It's not a 21st century problem, although it is a great problem. It was a first century problem. And if you were a fisherman or a tax collector or a physician and you were looking to try and do some kind of transaction with God and you wanted information about God, the go-to guys in the first century were a group of guys called the Pharisees. Now, I know you know them, and I know you sneer, and because from the time you were in second grade, you saw the flannel graph Sunday school stories. Your teachers threw them under the bus. These are the bad guys. But before you get so simplistic in your thinking about the Pharisees that, the bad guys have entered the scene, just know that these were the guys in the first century who knew the Word of God. They'd been educated. They could quote it. They could teach it. They could explain it. They were fully familiar with it, and they sat, as Jesus said, in the seat of Moses in these synagogues, and they taught it. And Jesus didn't say, go to another place and get taught. No, he says, when they sit in the seat of Moses and they teach you, listen and do what they say. These guys were the respected theological, pastoral leaders of the day. Now, why is it that we teach on our flannel graph second grade classroom stories that the Pharisees were bad guys? Why do we do that? Well, because we know we've read the New Testament. Jesus comes on the scene and shines light on them like an X-ray machine and exposes them for who they are. And what is that? They're frauds. They don't love God with all their heart, soul, strength, and mind. They love themselves. And that was his constant exposure. And he says, you know what, you got to listen to what they're saying because they are teaching you the word, but you better not follow their example, because if they make a convert of their lives, the converts are twice as much a son of hell as they are. These guys are going to lead you to hell. These guys will lead you astray.